it's good to see everyone here this morning. First of all, I want to apologize for my voice a little bit. I have come down with a summer cold, so bear with me as we get started here. And at this point in time, we will call the City of Franklin City Commission to order, and I will ask Commissioner Dale McQuarrie to lead us in a word of prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings you bestow upon us to get us to this meeting safely. I want to pray that you will use your guidance in making decisions for the city, that we do the right thing and do your will. We also pray for the shut-ins and the sick, people who've had recent surgeries. We just pray for their well-being and fast recovery. We ask you in your name to bless this meeting and do forth what you expect and your will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Commissioner McQuarrie. From here, we will go to hear the public, and I believe that we have Donnie Briggs here to speak to us under Hear the Public at this time. Donnie, if you'll just come over here to the stand.
First thing I'd like to address is the cost of these sewer taps and water taps. Last year at this time, it cost me $600 to put in a water tap. And now it's costing $1,800 for water. For sewer, I was handed a list the other day of people to use for the sewer if it's over 5 foot tall. If anybody's ever dealt with construction, you know every manhole is going to be at least 5 foot tall. So what that's saying is that the city don't want to fool with sewer taps anymore. And I understand that. Maybe it is too costly. But to hand me a piece of paper with the people's name on it that don't even know they're on the list. You know, and you don't have to believe me. You can fact check me. And then when you do call them, the two I did call, Ritter, you know, he laughed at me for a sewer tap. Because, you know, he's a $1 billion company. He's not going to come put a sewer tap in for Donnie Briggs. And the one that did say they would do it, one of them was $400 mobile fee. So much an hour. Want me to cut the road. If the sidewalk needs to be fixed, I've got to be the one fixing it. Nobody would give me a straight price on what they're going to charge me. Nobody. Nobody would say, you know, if somebody said $2,000, I'd been happy that day. But I'm a contractor, and I know how it works. The first time something runs into a little trouble, they're going to stick it to you. And another thing, I've had 4 permits already before we started this that I had to get sewer taps for. And I was basing these 4 duplexes on the $750 that I'd been charged. So now I either got to dig into my savings or I got to go back to the bank and beg them for some money to get this done. This is not right. I mean, it should have been a price set. Where it's going to cost you. If it costs you $5,000, a man's got to know it's going to cost him $5,000. You know, me and my wife have invested almost $2 million down here in these bad neighborhoods that we've neglected. And the kind of people we rent to are people that work at McDonald's, the people who work at Walmart, the people that work for the city that don't make good money. We rent to people that don't make a living, don't make good enough money to make a living. And after COVID, you can't run a credit check on people work there because the credit's shot. We don't run credit checks. We do it by handshake. But these prices are going up so high that it's making it where we can't do business. It's making it where only the top 1% can go in and afford to do this. And all I'm asking is look at this again. And you know, on these 4 I've already got, ain't no way I should be able to have to go back and pay all this. I mean, it's just, you know, it just can't keep, you know, if you want to make these neighborhoods better, it just can't keep going this way. I mean, it's just, I mean, Franklin's doing a good job on tearing down the house and cleaning them up. But you got to put something there. And, you know, in the last auction I went to, you know, you had a couple of people bid the crazy money on these lots. And I had 2 of them call me the other day and see if I was interested in them. I mean, it's not working. And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Donnie, thank you for coming and expressing your concerns. Do we have anyone else here to hear the public? If not, we will move on to the approval of minutes, and I'm sure that everyone's had an opportunity to look over the minutes. And do we have any questions or comments concerning the minutes?
Make a motion to approve them.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Powell to approve the minutes as they're stated. Do I have a second?
Second, Mayor.
We have a second by Commissioner Williams. Are there any other concerns or comments? If not, all in favor of the approval as they are stated, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and they stand approved as stated. And that was the approval of minutes of the July 22nd, 24 regular meeting, by the way. From there, we'll move on to recognitions, and under recognitions, we have the swearing in of a new police officer, and I believe Roger Solomon's here to speak to us on that.
Thank you, Mayor. Scott had actually swore him in last week, so we're not going to swear him in, but I am going to introduce him to the commission and to the public. Today I got Sam Scarborough and Megan Harper. Sam comes over with nearly 17 years experience, I think 17 years this month. Comes from Simpson County Sheriff's Office. He's taken Chester's position over the Drug Task Force, like effective last week. He's married to his wife Heather. He's got 2 children, Ella and Eli. Megan, she comes to us from Warren County Sheriff's Office. Comes over with over 5 years experience. She's married to her husband Wyatt, who works for Simpson County Sheriff's Office and has a young daughter named Riley. So both of us come to us with a wealth of experience, can be very valuable assets to the community and our department. So I want to welcome them today and introduce them to y'all. So I'll go ahead and stand up just real quick.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to go. Unless you want to stay.
Thank you, Chief. I believe you have the next one under Community Services, and that will be the update regarding back to school bash. And
Mayor, it was a very successful first event up here on our grounds. We had it right out here. Put up some tents and did some grilling of hamburgers and hot dogs. All total, we had inflatables, we had different games out here, and we had over a couple hundred kids that came up here for this event in about a 4-hour span. So it was a good first event for us. We also have been taking up supplies for back to school here the last couple of weeks, almost a month, and we took them over to Simpson Elementary, and that was a big hit as well. So just wanted to kind of update y'all on that, and say that, you know, having the grounds up here is like really facilitating some of the community engagements that we've been trying to do. So that's all.
yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. And I happened to drive by, and I saw there were a lot of kids up here. So I think it was very successful. Moving on, under Community Services, we have Josh Huddy here he's the Executive Director of the South Central Literacy Council, and maybe Kenton wants to speak to his introduction. But
Josh, the first time when we did the ribbon cutting in this room.
Yeah.
So Josh, welcome back.
Thank you.
But I talked to Josh a couple of times, and it sounded like they got some exciting news, and I thought it'd be a good time for you to share with the commission.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So Kenton told me I only have 45 minutes, so I cut a bunch of stuff. No, just kidding. So my name is Josh Huddy. I'm the Executive Director of the South Central Literacy Council. Most of you probably know it as the Simpson County Literacy Center. We did a rebrand where we kind of changed the name, the doing business as name of the organization, but the location where we still offer services, we still call that the Simpson County Literacy Center. So if you say one or the other, it means the same thing. Everything's great. However, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is kind of the vision that our board had moving forward and some news regarding it. So when I first got here in March, I told our board we need to do some strategic planning. They pushed back a little bit in terms of like, well, you know, this is something we're not necessarily used to. Let's start with mission and vision work. And so we started with mission and visioning. We revised our mission statement very slightly just to make it more clear. We provide essential literacy education opportunities through one-on-one and small group settings to enrich the lives of adults and our community. So that is our mission statement. It's really clear what we do. And then when it came to vision, I don't have that one memorized, so I won't read off this. They kind of came up with this vision statement I think is really powerful. The South Central Literacy Council will be a warm and welcoming environment serving as an educational hub that fosters a community among our expanding student and volunteer base. We will deliver personalized one-on-one and small group tutoring in English learning, basic literacy, high school equivalency preparation, digital literacy, and financial literacy. We'll be recognized as advocates for both English learner adults and those with low literacy, tailoring our outreach to parents and caregivers with an aim to uplift generational literacy. We'll take the initial steps to expand our services to surrounding areas, and as a result, our expanding network of communities will become more vibrant, more welcoming, and more prosperous for all. So really what they did was we sat down and we decided, what can we be? Right now, you know, the Literacy Council it's been around for a while. We've been serving adults in the area, but they really started to dream big, vision big, right? And they said, we could be this place where people come in who feel like they maybe don't have community, don't fit in because of either their low literacy or their low English language. And they could come in, whether they had class or not, to a space where it's welcoming, it's warm, they can practice their English or their reading in a space that is really supportive of them and their efforts through those literacy improvements. But as many of you know, the Literacy Council was previously funded through charitable gaming. That was the largest revenue for the Literacy Council. And in October of last year, they decided to stop doing that because the revenues had fallen so significantly. We partner with the city, and we appreciate you guys so very much for the partnership that you guys have provided us with that. But in order to reach this vision, we looked at our situation, and we said, we really are at a situation where we're at a crossroads. We need to decide, are we going to be an organization that pursues big dreams and really makes a lasting impact on the community? Or are we going to be something different where maybe we revise our vision down, we become something that, maybe the organization is just one staff member who sort of serves as a volunteer coordinator and maybe an instructor. And the board ultimately decided, no, we like this vision. We think that it can be big. In order to support that, though, they made the decision to sell the building with the express intent to find a physical location in Franklin as close as we can to our existing building. So we serve some students who walk. We want to make sure that we are still in a position within the community where we can support that. I'm in talks with other organizations about possibly finding space even to share with them and things like that. That might be reduced costs and things like that. And it's like I told my board, one of our board members is here now, and so it's like I told them, I said, it kind of stinks because if we do everything that we want to do, probably in a few years, we're going to think, man, I wish that we still had that building, but this is just the reality of where we are and where we need to be moving forward. We are expanding that vision. We are not shrinking it down. This is not to give us more leeway in our budget. It's not to stretch out the timing. As soon as the building sells, we have plans to hire right away more English language tutors, more people to get the word out and things. We know that the need is great in Simpson County. Based on the data that we have, we recognize that there's probably approximately 3,500 adults in Simpson County that are at or below level 1 literacy. And so I'll pull this up real quick just so that you guys can see it. Level 1 literacy is defined as adults at this level can be considered at risk for difficulties using or comprehending print material. Adults at the upper end of this level can read short text in print or online and understand the meaning well enough to perform simple tasks such as filling out a short form, but drawing inferences or combining multiple sources of text may be too difficult. Adults who are below level 1 may only be able to understand very basic vocabulary or find very specific information on a familiar topic. Some adults below level 1 may struggle even to do this and may be functionally illiterate. So the data that we have is not, it really stops at that level 1 or below, at or below. But you can see even that level is something that we want to raise people up from. And we know that we can do that through the tutoring programs that we have. We know that the English language tutoring is definitely a big part of what we do. Bailey is one of our volunteers here. She works with some of our students. And so it's something that we're very excited about the future of, but we wanted to talk with key stakeholders in the community, get ahead of maybe rumors, that when they see a for sale sign, they're going to think that we're closing. We're not closing, we're just moving. And so wanted to give the opportunity to talk to you guys about that expanded vision, about the idea that we truly are excited about the idea that we can expand and provide services to really enrich the community. So with that, I guess I'll end my 45 minutes just a couple minutes early. And
Josh, question. The 1 to 3,500 is near level 1. Is there a statistic to know are they employed or unemployed typically?
There is a breakdown of those employment and unemployment that I can find for you. I don't have that written down. Didn't expect that question specifically, but I can find it. The data is through an organization called PEOC, which measures literacy rates across the entire United States.
And as you know, like most areas, there's wanting people for history and different things. Getting that level up helps speed that program.
Yeah, it definitely helps that tremendously. Also, we do know from our data that as we increase our literacy rates above level 1, we see roughly a $10,000 income gain per person. And so that makes a huge economic impact on a location, right? When you apply these numbers and you start to look at that, you're like, wow, our GDP could really grow by educational improvement and things like that. So we feel like we're well suited to, in terms of our vision to get there, and we're excited to expand and to grow into that. And so we know that the English as a second language population is only going to continue to grow, especially with Bowling Green being so close to us, being a refugee city or a sanctuary city. That population is going to continue to expand. There are roughly 900. We're projecting out some specific percentages, but there are roughly 900 households in Simpson County that we anticipate speak a language other than English in their home. So that's a lot of people. We want to be able to serve them, and I think that we can. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Josh, thank you for bringing that update to us and educating the public somewhat as to what's going to be taking place with the literacy. Okay, from here, we will move on to general government, and that'll be discussion and a possible action regarding a request for street closing by the Simpson County Relay for Life. And Kent.
As you had stated, their annual Relay for Life. It's scheduled for September the 14th. See on the page, they have the attached information, street closure request. But the motion is to approve street closing request of Simpson County Relay for Life for their annual event on Saturday, September 14, 2024, from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. for College Street from West Cedar Street to West Kentucky Avenue. And that's the motion, sir.
Okay, and I think we have done this in prior years too. Okay, do I have a motion to?
Make a motion, Mayor.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner McQuarrie.
I second, Mayor.
We have a second by Commissioner Stewart. Are there any comments or further questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries. From here, we will move on to discussion under general government and under possible action regarding a request for street closing of Kiwanis and the Nemac.
Call it knick-knack.
And Kenton will take that for us.
Now, this is the first one for Touch a Truck, okay? Relay for Life has been a while, but we have a street closer for Knick-Knack and Kiwanis. And it was, they have the same request as far as the Methodist Church. And it's to Knick-Knack and Kiwanis Touch a Truck. A birthday bash on Saturday, August 31st, 2024 from 12 noon to 4 p.m. for College Street from West Cedar Street to West Washington Street. That's the motion, sir.
Okay, we have a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Powell.
Second, Mayor.
Second by Commissioner Stewart. Are there any comments or any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries also. Okay, moving on, under general government will be discussion and a possible action regarding a new city logo and website redesign update. And Megan, you want to come and talk to us on that?
Thank you. So we've been working with a designer to come up with a new logo to enhance our branding. The image is but anybody wants to see, I'm really proud of it. I think it looks really great. It incorporates our downtown and then the blue colors that we see so often used in Franklin, so we're incorporating that into our logo. This also plays a role in our new website. We've had our first consultation with our designer, Jacob, with Revise, and essentially within the next week and a half, we should have a skeleton version of our new website, which will allow us to start really honing in on our department pages, so we're excited about that. At this time, I'm looking just to receive your approval if you like the design so that we can use it as our website, template as we continue our branding, but also on our documentation, our memos, and anything representing the city.
Me.
On the previous logos that we use, are we gonna be exchanging? I mean, this will be a new logo. Anything that we have the old logo, we're gonna.
Yeah, we're gonna rip that off the chair in the back.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. That's nice. Okay.
Right, it's kind of a branding, but.
Some of this stuff just be grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
The website redesign really opened up the opportunity for us to move a little bit more forward and hone in on a logo, plus with our comprehensive plan as well. I think just having our branding out there, it's a good opportunity, so. Give it a question.
I think it's a great idea. I like it.
I like it, Megan. I think you've done a good job designing that. Megan.
Pop color.
Yeah.
It's a little different, a little bit more of a modern take, but.
It's okay. Get used to it. What do you need, Mayor? We need a motion to
Need a
approve.
motion for if we're,
I'll make the motion.
we have a motion by,
Changing of the logo.
we have a motion by Commissioner Stewart. Do we have a second?
Second, Mayor.
We have a second by Commissioner McQuarrie, and are there any other comments to it? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
And we have a new logo, Karen.
All right.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, under general government, we'll have discussion regarding a draft regulation for medicinal cannabis. And Scott, you want to speak to us on that?
I suppose this is premature, obviously, but we have to do it. None of this is going to affect, will take effect unless the bill and approve medicinal cannabis in November. However, because the election is so late in the year, we have to have regulations very first to get ahead of the curve, and that's what we've talked about all along, and for the public's benefit. Planning and zoning regulations and business regulatory regulations, which have been sent. Certainly they're available to the public if you want it, but again, none of this is going to go into the election. It passes. With regard to the draft zoning regulations, I'm going to bring them to the commission first. Carter and I have been working on these. If the commission is okay with the way we have these structured, we'll kick them over to planning and zoning, and they'll go through that process. Ready to go. Planning has to have a public hearing, they have to approve them, and then they kick them back over here, and then they'll just sit there pending the election, and then we'll pass an ordinance if it's approved after the election. Really, it's pretty simple. Dispensaries will be out near exit 2 and exit 6. We felt was the best place, particularly planning for the future. All the other production, cultivation, all that will be in I-2. That we felt for an industrial zone because they have to be indoors. They're fairly large facilities in most cases. Tier 1 and Tier 2 are smaller, and they can be in an ag zone, but I will say this, other than the dispensaries, all cannabis facilities will have to go through the adjustments to get a conditional use permit. So there will be a hearing process for neighbors to vent and express their concerns, if any, prior to implementation, which we felt was needed and necessary under the circumstances. We have had some minor complaints with smell and things of the legal CBD production facilities in Franklin right now. I don't know that the smell will increase that much, we just don't know yet, but still want an opportunity for the public to be heard on these topics. With that, any comments, questions?
Just clarification, Scott. In the event that it passes, all the dispensaries will be, nothing will be in the downtown area. It'll be on the outskirts of the city limits.
Exit 2 and exit 6 are the two areas. It's generally, what do we call it, interstate? B5, but then they call it interstate zone or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the common term, but it's like that. And really what we're doing is we're looking forward to the future. With this passing the state, you got to figure at some point they're going to be looking at recreational, and we just felt that was the best place to put the dispensaries. Now, again, it's limited to one in Simpson County if we get one, if it passes and if we get one.
Sure.
So
okay.
It's not going to be a huge problem right now.
And all of this is pending on whether it's passed by vote or not passed by vote.
That's correct. We have been contacted by several entities about production facilities, cultivation facilities, so I don't know what their license numbers are per county, but I know there's been an extreme amount of interest in Simpson County. So, any questions, comments? Are you all good with this? I don't really need a motion, but if you're good with it, I'll tell Carter he's here to answer questions, but he can take it to planning and zoning at their next meeting.
I think we're all good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you all.
Yeah,
And again, if your regulatory ordinance I sent to you, if you've got questions about that, let me know, but it's pretty benign. It just basically legalizes it and sets a fee, so.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, from there, under general government, we'll move on to discussion and a possible action regarding a proposed ordinance rezoning 8.28 acres located on Highway 100 East from I-2 to B4. And Scott, you want to?
That would be me as well. That's a request by South Street LLC. This is property out in and around the East Industrial Park. Wendell, I know you're familiar. Property South Street is predominantly owned by Ken Kelly. It's land that he owns out there, right on Highway 100, and actually approved by planning and zoning for the zoning. So, it's your approval, the two sponsors, Jamie, Webb, thanks, Kathy. And Mayor, I've got two. We also have change request on 0.780 acres on North Street from Michael Properties LLC. This is right next door to landscaping. Just want Thank you all.
Got that? Okay, thanks, Scott. Okay, next will be discussion and a possible action regarding a proposed ordinance to set the 2024 real and personal property tax rate. And Carol, you want to bring that to us? I believe.
Taxes are my favorite time of year. But we did receive the valuations from the PBA office, and we've done the calculations based on the DLG template to show the options we have. So just a reminder, our current rate for 2024 was 12.1 cents per $100 of assessment value. The compensating rate would be 10.7 cents. And if we went with the compensating plus 4%, we would be at 11.1, which is still lower than the current rate. If we go with the compensating rate, come in, total dollars about $17,000 more than we budgeted for property taxes. But we have to keep in mind, we have about $50,000 each year that we do not collect. Just not paying, and we have to file liens. So we would actually not hit our budgeted numbers for 2025, it looks like, at that rate. If we go with the compensating plus 4, we would be about 69,000 better than what we budgeted. So we back off the 50,000, so we would be 19,000 or so better than what we budgeted. Just for comparison.
So if the commission does go with 11.1 non-comp plus 4, for each individual property owner taxpayer, it would still decrease 1% over last year, correct?
It's a little more than 1%. I was just doing the math after you talked the other day. So in your memo, I had shown if you have a house or property assessed at $250,000, at the 12.1, your taxes would be $302.50 for the year. At compensating rate, it would be $267.50. And at compensating plus 4, it would be $277. So yeah, you're even at the compensating plus 4, it's a reduction.
It's a reduction.
From what you're paying at current year rates. So any other questions? Action, we need the commission to decide whether to go with the compensating rate of 2.7 cents or the compensating plus 4 1.1. And by law, any tax rate above the compensating rate, we need to have a public hearing, and that public hearing would need to be the 9th meeting. And then based on the decision, we need 2 sponsors for the ordinance.
Mayor, I might,
7 point.
we go with
Compensated plus 4.
Compensating plus 4.
Yeah, compensating 4.
2 are sponsored. Dale and Wyndham. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And the motion by,
No.
We don't need a.
We just-
okay. Okay, next then, Carol, will be, you will have that also, will be discussion regarding the FEMA disaster assistance.
Yes, on July 23rd, 2024, disaster declaration was made for the severe storm that we had, basically Memorial Day weekend here in town. That declaration will allow us to recoup some of our costs that we've had in the cleanup from FEMA. So there was a meeting on the 1st of August that I went to at the Brad office to help us understand what that process was. And I went ahead and put in the request that we want assistance. I have an exploratory meeting this Wednesday with FEMA, with Kentucky FEMA people, to understand that process, and then we'll go from there. It should be probably, it looks like about a 90-day process. It's really fast compared to the last one we had to do. It is a sharing program. The federal would provide 75% of the cost reimbursement. The Commonwealth of Kentucky would be 12%, and our share would be 13%. I did some rough math, and I think we have about $66,000 we've spent on the cleanup, between brush cleanup, having trees that fell down. We had to have a contractor because the city couldn't handle the size of the trees that they were. We had a water leak that we had to fix that happened as a result of the storms. So we're still working on those numbers, but that's a tentative number. And as more goes on, we don't need to do anything today, but I'll just keep you informed on what we're at in the stages.
That's just information. There's no vote or anything to be taken on that. But I think anyone that had damage, they can go to FEMA and apply for assistance if they had damage. Okay, moving on from there will be discussion or possible action regarding contract renewal for no bid cybersecurity, and Tammy will come and speak to us on that.
Thank you, Mayor. Back in, it was 2021, we began using some training software, which you all love. Wonderful emails every month with videos and training exercises. And the whole purpose is really just to keep us aware of possible cyber threats, so that we can hopefully keep our systems safe. In 2021, we signed a 3-year agreement with the company KnowBe4, and that is up for renewal, which you'll find a copy of that in your packet. So today I would like to just request that that agreement be renewed and that the mayor be allowed to sign all documents related to that agreement.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Powell. And we have a second by Commissioner Williams. Any further questions for Tammy or comments?
For Tammy. Tammy, will this still be a part of the ongoing, I guess, lesson planning that we're gonna have to do?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting and it almost got me where I don't want to hit no button. Oh, it's related to my iPad. Yeah, but it's very interesting. Okay.
Take the test over though.
Okay, we have a second and a motion. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further comments? Not, we'll take a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? That motion carries. Tammy, I believe you have the next one too here on discussion or possible action regarding award bid of Core Cybersecurity Grant Project. And
Thank you. Last year, I received notification that the city had been awarded $43,200 from the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security for a cybersecurity project. The local Brad office is helping us with that grant administration. So they worked with us to put together that documentation to be able to bid that out. We've also been working with the State Office of Homeland Security. We held a bid opening on July the 10th. You can see we had in your packet, we had 5 bids received, and they varied greatly. It was a big margin from just over $13,000 to $325,000. So when we looked at those, we sent all the documentation to Brad. They reviewed them and put together the sheet that you'll find in your packet. And then the Brad sent them to the state because we wanted to make sure that they reviewed those documentation as well. So the state came back. They said it was really up to us locally, the company that we chose. And looking at the bidders, we feel more comfortable with because it is a cybersecurity project, with a somewhat local company. So that would be Cornerstone Information Systems, which operates out of Bowling Green, and their bid was $38,938. So I do have the bids. The documentation was rather large. That's why we chose not to put everything in your packet. It is on the corner of the table if you'd like to review more detailed documentation.
Is this the same Cornerstone that we've,
Yes, we have used
before?
Yes, sir.
And the rest of these, we've never had any dealings or business? Okay. What do we need, a motion?
We need a motion.
Sure, I move that we go with the recommendation of Cornerstone to handle all of our security or whatever it is, that services they're going to be providing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Powell. Are there any further comments or questions? If not, we'll take a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimous. And moving on, Tammy, I believe you have the next one too, and that's just discussion regarding employee training. And if you'll...
This one doesn't require any action, but wanted to let you know and invite the commissioners to attend. On Thursday, September the 12th, we're having an employee training here in this room for all of our employees. We'll do kind of the same format we've done in the past. We'll have one session in the morning, then lunch, and then one session in the afternoon. And the topic for this particular training will be diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. And we have, I was at a human resources conference a couple of months ago and had the opportunity to hear Serenity Wright. She's a professor and associate director of social innovation with the University of Kentucky. And I really thought she did a really good job, it was very engaging, so I started a conversation, and she will be the presenter for that day for the employee training, so we'd like to invite her. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Next will be discussion and a possible action regarding proposed resolution authorizing clean water grant program, and John Zambrano is going to speak to us on that.
So you may remember a few years ago, we started doing some cleaner water program projects. Recently, I was contacted by the Brad office, and they said, hey, can you check on the paperwork for this? Well, I get to looking into it, and so we have, I think, 3 projects right now that are already, they're happening. And so we've already got most of the documentation that we need sent in. There's one project that we hadn't gotten everything together for, and that's the Macedonia lift station upgrade. I believe that's $222,000 grant money that'll go towards the engineering for that project. But we do not have a resolution to accept the grant and authorize the mayor to sign all documents. So I believe I've included the verbiage needed in that resolution in your packet. So if we could get that resolution approved, that'd be great, because we're ready to turn that in and start working on this project.
We have a motion for that, John's.
Need a motion?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Powell. Do we have any further questions or comment?
How long do you think it'll be before the
Grant, do the upgrade?
Yeah.
Well, it'll be a while. This is have until December 2024 to decide how we're going to spend the money for engineering, and then December of 2026 before we have to have all that money spent for the grant money. The actual upgrade itself will cost significantly more, so I have sitting on my desk several copies of requests for more funding, and then we'll have a second round to apply for more grant money for that. So as far as the engineering done, we'll at least be able to have all of our paperwork submitted to KIA by September 1st, and then we'll have our engineer draw bid documents and all that stuff for December 2024.
That's the lift station off 31W and Macedonia Road, that's kind of in the bottom.
Yeah.
So, and that one serves a good chunk of the sewer that moves up from Kentucky Downs area. Basically, until we are able to do the upgrades to that lift station, that pushes a lot of sewer up to the north end of town, which is where our wastewater plant is. So we really need some upgrades done there for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Are we ready to vote? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition?
Go get it, John.
That motion carries, John. And I believe you have the next one too. So that'll be discussion and a possible action regarding Railroad Street Safety Improvement Project.
Yeah, so earlier this year, we got a device that measures traffic volume, size of traffic, speed of traffic. I set this device up in 7 different locations over the course of the week on both sides of Railroad Street. And you'll notice Railroad Street, it's 2 streets divided by a railroad. As it is right now, both of these streets are one-way or two-way streets. I had an idea that would make it a lot safer, because you'll notice some of these areas are very, very narrow. I think one area I measured was barely 10 feet wide. So if you drive a little car like me and you're approaching another little car like mine, then you still got to scooch over a little bit. But, you know, if you got 2 bigger vehicles coming in contact with each other, that it's a very dangerous situation. On one side, you're going to end up in a ditch, or you're going to end up in somebody's yard. So I kind of came up with a theory that we should make Railroad Street one way in these dangerous areas. And in order to present this to the public a little bit more effectively and kind of show you all what I was talking about, I wanted to propose to do a commissioner's walk and talk with the public. And basically, just the route that I wanted to discuss, we would start here at the church, right across Railroad Street there. And then we would move down to East Cedar Street, go up the sidewalks there, and if I can get this thing to move. Then go down Pine Street, and that'll take us over to East Madison, which right now we're doing some sidewalk improvements over there. So I figured that'd be a good opportunity for us to look at some of the brick sidewalks and talk about some of the improvements that we're gonna do there. And then go right across the tracks, continue down Railroad Street until we get to Breckenridge Street. And then from Breckenridge Street, take Little Cat all the way past the school, come back up East Madison, where there are some houses that are undergoing some improvements, and some sidewalks that we'll talk about on the way, and then meet back up at the church there. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to get the public and the neighbors involved that would be affected by these changes. But ultimately, the long-term plan, well, short-term plan really, because we can do this pretty quick, is to have it one way on the west side of the tracks. Basically, you would be moving north. And that would go all the way to the end of the west side, right at that intersection. And then on the east side of the tracks, have it heading south. Now that's a much bigger stretch that goes all the way from Finn Street to, I believe, Brick Street, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Cherry Street. Yeah, Cherry Street.
Cherry.
Yeah. So that would kind of give us an opportunity to do some significant safety improvements there. You'll know right now if you try to walk a dog down that street, if you try to push a stroller down that street, it can be a little bit scary. And one of the things that I found with the traffic measuring device is that I believe one of the instances there was 77% of traffic going through there is speeding. So I passed it on to Roger. So, you know, we want to definitely look at making some improvements there, not only for vehicle traffic, but certainly for the residents who live in that area. So what I had proposed, and we're about to do some striping and painting, is painting some one-way signage, some do not enter signage, placing up signs, and then have a pedestrian separated path that's painted all the way down each side of Railroad Street. And basically just something like that you see there, just enough space to where you can have handicap accessibility, and just kind of have that awareness for vehicles. And studies show that when you have this type of painted separation for pedestrians, that people tend to slow down. I've looked at a lot of traffic calming measures, and that tends to be really effective. So you can see on this next map here, all the areas we would paint and put up signs. And I've just got that pretty much on each side of the railroad tracks going down. And I'm ready to pass this on to Steve, who is going to pass this on to our person to paint. So this will be kind of an example of the do not enter and the one-way signs that we would have up. And then I've got a whole list of where we would paint everything needed to do this.
Yeah, I got a question for you. I thought on the west side of Railroad Street, it was already a one-way.
Well, there are a few spots that it just kind of ends.
I mean, it's narrow, but it when they run across the railroad tracks with the bridge, they closed that down to a one-way back then.
So there's no signage or anything that would indicate that. And when I did the traffic measurements, I did it on both sides of the bridge there on the west side, and you could see people going in both directions. It's about even. There's a 5% increase on people going north, which is why I proposed that we move it that direction. But right now, there's just no signs or any indicators.
I think they just misplaced the signs because the school bus, they changed that for the school bus.
Yeah.
They did.
But this would give us an opportunity to kind of look at that in more detail and converse with the public. And you know, if people want to come out and ask questions about it before we really tackle this project, then that they would have an opportunity to do that. So if you guys would like to schedule a commissioners walk and talk, I think it would be great to do it as we approach this nice cooler weather. So I was thinking the September the 11th would be a good day for it. It's a Wednesday afternoon that we could have a special call meeting. But again, it's up to you guys. I know everybody's got their own schedules, so. But I would definitely like to schedule something like this so that we can have a little bit more discussion with the public and the neighbors in that area. And then we have an opportunity to show you all the great things that we're doing as far as safety improvements in that area, so.
Has letters been sent out to those residents, getting their opinion?
Not yet. We wanted to wait until after we had this opportunity to have a special called meeting that the public can walk and share concerns. So at that point, you know, whenever we're ready to start painting and all that, we'll send letters. There are 49 residents that would be affected by this change. And so I've got letters drafted up to explain why and how we're going to go about this. And essentially, once we get the green light, I'll put in dates of when things will be effective. So
I had a discussion with someone last 2 days about that same topic. So it'll be a hot topic because the people, as you know, going north, coming back, they'll have to go all the way down.
Right.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting.
And that's kind of why we wanted to do it this way, because from these intersections that we are going to make it one way, you'll still have an opportunity to bypass if you needed to go the opposite way at these intersections. So now if a train's coming, you're going to be stuck there anyways. So there's always that. But at these intersections, you have an opportunity to go right across the railroad tracks or left down a secondary street. So,
John, let me suggest something. I think you ought to send a letter to those residents and the people affected to let them know about the walk and talk, about the discussion.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we will be doing that. And also at the church, we would have a meeting there.
Right, and I think they need to know about that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Pretty big change.
Yeah, and I started talking to Transportation Cabinet about this proposal, 6 months ago, something like that, just out of safety concerns. And when we were able to get that traffic devices, it's funny because when I was talking to them about it, my proposal was opposite direction of what the data showed us, that traffic tends to move more in the opposite direction of what I originally proposed. So it's good that we got that device and are able to make a better decision.
And that's where we thought the commission get out, and we've got 2 projects going on where we have sidewalks on East Madison, and then plus this, you know, because it is a hot topic, so we just need to get out and listen to feedback. So the main thing is safety, as we all know, and the other thing is with the comp plan and accessibility of people wanting to walk, and this is trying to take an area you really can't expand, or make the Railroad Street wider, you just can't.
No.
So that's what we're dealing with, so. But anyway, we're just looking for feedback, you know, from the public and see how we can.
And you know,
There is a safety issue with both of those.
Right. It just hadn't been enforced on this west side.
Right.
It's been a one-way all the time.
and I think that's the area where it gets narrowed down to about 10 feet.
It's scary if you meet somebody.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And then when you get right up to where the bridge goes over, I mean, you've got concrete and a ditch. So,
Yeah.
It's unnerving.
and it's funny, Kenton mentioned the comp plan. We have an advisory groups meeting tonight, actually. But we asked all the advisory groups to give us some information and feedback about, you know, what they thought, how should we address this, how should we address that. And one of the common factors across all the advisory groups was increased walkability and increased traffic safety. So I think this certainly checks off a box, at least in that area, so.
Okay, well, we've heard the comments, and do we have a motion to approve the safety improvements along Railroad Street?
I don't think we need a motion.
Just for the special called meeting and the walk.
Okay. So no action at this point.
We'll take action after the walk and talk on the actual improvement project. But I just kind of wanted to give a little subject matter for a special call meeting and ask that you all schedule that.
Okay, all right.
So is everybody good with what he's proposing on Saturday?
Maybe. I mean, that's a quick loaded question. Work schedule, but I'm definitely for doing it. I think we probably need a day to see if all this.
Let me call individually after this meeting.
Sounds good. And if we can
come up with something that's universal, and then we'll set it. It sounds like everybody's interested in doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll work with that.
Yeah, if we get a date and time set, I'll go ahead and get a letter sent out to the residents and people in that area that would be affected, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, John.
I don't.
Okay, from there, we will move on to utilities. And that'll be discussion and a possible action regarding proposed agreement for wastewater model. And Trent Coffey is here to speak to us on that.
Thanks for having me. As everyone knows, the city of Franklin over the last several years has been experiencing substantial growth. And with that growth, so is the utility services, especially the sewer. Wastewater department is at the point now that we need a tool that will allow us to know if we have enough capacity in our collection systems to handle growth in certain areas. As y'all know, we've been working with Barge Design Solutions. Pat Stevens is here today for the past few years on a wastewater model. We've completed flow monitoring, manhole inspections, and collected other data about our infrastructure. Now we're ready for Barge Design Solution to complete the wastewater model. This model is a critical future of the city where we need to rehab, where we can allow a development to come in due to capacity. As of now, it's guesswork. We don't know if for certain if we have enough capacity in that line to allow that development, or we do. We just don't know. The cost of this wastewater model is $198,500. This money is already in the 24-25 capital budget. Any questions about that?
Yeah, Trent, educate me just for a second. What is this?
This is a model. I understand the question. I'll have, working with GIS, I'll have my computer where, say, a development wants to come, say, right across the street here. I can type in, it's 400 homes, that water, how much water they will be contributing to the wastewater, to that manhole or that line. It will light up, this line has enough capacity or this line does not.
It needs to be replaced or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and it's Carter and our development team, we have developments coming all the time that ask, do we have enough capacity, you know, especially on the industrial board.
Right.
Too, they have that question all the time. And I'm just guessing, yes, yeah, we might not, I don't know.
Okay.
But this will pinpoint what lines need to be upgraded, what needs to happen for that industry or that development to be able to build in that area.
Okay.
And like I said, right now, it's just all.
This work in new developments as well. If we get ready to build XYZ houses in wherever, it'll help you better regulate the size and what needs to go in there.
It will let us know, hey, it can handle 500 homes, or it can't handle 500. It might be able to handle 200.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that would be good to know.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And like I said, you all know the last few years, we've done the flow monitoring that we've already done. We've done manhole inspections and all that kind of stuff. We've got the data to complete it now.
Yeah.
It's just taking GIS and all that information and building it.
Typically, some of those larger subdivisions now that come on board, we get the information and we call Barge and say, can you do this? And they'll do the study for us 2 or 3 weeks and we have it.
Right.
This is more instantaneous, but all this information wasn't available until we did all the flow control monitoring that Mark Wagner didn't remember all the flow controls. And we done, and so this is also the I&I, we're doing other ones, so it's just something else that would better help us to understand.
Good, yeah,
As we build it, we don't
Right.
overbuild in certain areas.
right.
So we know.
And we're also budgeting for this amount.
Our budget, we know our wastewater plant has enough capacity. It's getting that flow to the plant. That we're uncertain about. So, the motion would be, to allow Barge Design Solutions to complete the wastewater model for $198,500 and for the mayor to sign all documents pertaining to the wastewater model.
Mayor, if you need a motion, I'll make the motion.
We need a motion. We have a motion by Commissioner Stewart.
Second, Mayor.
Second by Commissioner Williams. Any further comments or questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Trent. Next will be, under utilities, will be discussion and possible action regarding award a bid for a sludge removal at the water treatment plant. And I think this is pretty much an annual thing we have to do, isn't it,
Yes, sir.
Johnny? So if you'll speak to us on that.
I'll just read. So, city published an invitation to bid number 2025-1 sludge water treatment plant Lagoon. The bid was on Wednesday, July 24th, and there was one sealed bid that was received. And it was from Holtz Environmental Services for $39,950. That we have experience with. They know our system, they know our sites, and they do exceptional work. I trust their services. And so I would like to recommend that the city award the contract for the sludge removal to Holtz Environmental Services and to authorize the mayor to sign all the documents related to the service.
How often do we have to have this removed?
We do it annually.
Annually?
Yes.
So we have to we bid this out every year?
No, sir, in the past we haven't. Their original quote was so close to our threshold that we could have been out, just to see what the interest would be in the community.
And we've worked with this company before. Okay.
This is something that we have to do, so.
No.
It's budgeted.
So
Mayor, I'll make that.
we have a motion by Commissioner Williams. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner McQuarrie. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And that motion carries unanimously. Thank you, John. Okay, we will move on to ordinances, and Miss Kathy Dillard will take those for us.
Mayor, on that summary, you are- assessments as provided by Simpson County. Per dollars assessed valuation on real property within the jurisdiction, and an ad valorem tax of 11.1 cents per $100 assessed valuation on all individual personal property and merchandise inventory within the jurisdiction. And we'll move on and have first summary reading of ordinance 2024-023, an ordinance rezoning approximately 8.82 acres fronting Highway 100, Spotsville Road, from I-2 heavy industrial to B4 Highway Business District, as requested by South Street LLC. And finally, we will have first summary reading of ordinance number 2024-024, an ordinance rezoning approximately 0.780 acres located immediately east of 701 North Street from R2, single family and duplexes, to B2 general business, as requested by Michael Gregory Properties LLC. This concludes the first summary reading of these ordinances. The text is available at City Hall at the office of the city clerk during business hours.
and will be available on the city's website upon passage and publication.
Thank you very much, Kathy. That concludes our ordinances. And from there, we will move on to executive session. And under executive session will be personnel, and that will be discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee or member under KRS 61.8101F. And I will need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved, Mayor.
We have a motion by Commissioner Stewart to go into executive sessions. Second?
Second, Mayor.
Second by Commissioner Williams. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
And we will now move in